I go to work super early in the morning, and then with practicing and doing stuff like that, kids after school, my Monday through Fridays is like 4 to 5, and then it's dinner. So for me, it's pretty minimal until I hit the weekend. Pretty limited. But then off season,
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting in let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Do you need to take off your shoes and socks to count this one?
5. I might have to.
All right, Jason. Well, here we are. Everyone, welcome to the Scrambling Dads Podcast.
Where fatherhood is real, golf is sacred, and the shots don't go as planned. Guys, we're just two dads juggling careers, coaching kids, raising kids, and chasing golf wherever we possibly can. And this show is just for all the guys that, wake up early, try to get them in, and just talking through how being a present dad is, always competing with our passion for wanting to play golf, wanting to build those pillow forts, wanting to be there for those practices. So today's day and age, everything is fake, it's censored, it's enhanced, it's AI, right? It's all the above. But what about Instagram versus reality? This is the reality of life. We're not career professional golfers here. We are just hobbyists. We're weekend warriors, and we like to balance it. We balance the chaos. We scramble. Scrambling to the event, scrambling to the course. So if you're looking for finding your tribe, as they say, this is that tribe. We're going to talk about real dad life. We're going to talk about what's going on in the golf world. We're going to talk about how we want to get better and how we're chasing our own careers. It's not this isn't a golf podcast. We like to say we're a lifestyle and a golf influence on that. But we're here. We hope that you can relate to this content. We hope you give us a little listen in the morning commutes. And with that said, let's tee this up here. Jason, I equate this text that I got from you, 6 weeks ago, to the we should buy a bar conversation, right? It's you get it and you're like, no, we should. Maybe. Should we? So start us off here. What spurred this? What spurred you wanting to send that message and give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like, hey, let's just buy a bar and talk. It was something where I think I was just sitting at home doing dad duties and just like, I've got some time to kill. I've enjoyed watching golf and I enjoy just talking about all the different components of it. And I was just like, you know what? Who can I bring in that could definitely relate to where I'm at? And as I texted you, and it's like, yeah, it kind of shocked me. Like, yeah, let's do this. Like, let's go for it. And here we are, giving it a go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. We have these conversations, we text, we call, and you're certainly one of those guys in my golf, text group, and above. I mean, you've been there for all the important parts of my life as well, right? At least the adult side of this. And, we have these conversations. So it's like, well, everyone's having the conversations. Why don't we throw it on a podcast and see what happens, right? Because I think we have relatable stories. I think, it's no shade at any of the formal podcasts, the guys that do this for a living. But there's a small niche of us that don't do it for a living and, want to be relatable because we're not traveling the world playing golf and, in, England playing one day and Sawgrass playing the next. We don't get the opportunities to play the course the week of a major championship like the content creators. So it just becomes a little, unrelatable at times. And we want to be that relatable person. Same conversations how many guys are having every day.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely relatable. It's just like, when can we squeeze around in? We're not major content creators. Like I said, we are fully careered in our own paths, fully career dads and husbands. And so we have other responsibilities and priorities that we like to make sure or take care of everything else in between.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, outside of, the why we do this, outside of the dad side, give us your story on golf. How'd you get into it?
So that's what was funny, like thinking about it over the years. I've been around for a while. I'm nearly halfway to 100. And so I do have a little bit of a history. Thinking back, it was, back in somewhere in the 80s, growing up in a small town, just kind of like our options were baseball or basketball if you wanted to be popular. And so I was just like, well, I got to pick one. So I picked baseball. So that's kind of been my route for years. Try to do a walk on with the baseball team, but that went about as far as a well executed butt. So after that, it was pretty much just like, what else can I do? Signed up for a golf class in college. And at that point, it was more about how far can I hit a club versus learning the skill in the game. And then as I got into it and started learning, like, oh, I can really do this. So college was kind of like the big stepping stone after just a PE class. And it was just kind of like, hey, like just grab some clubs and just take a whack at it. And from there, it was growing, but growing slowly. Got married 25, had kids early. And so that, again, dad life kind of took over everything. So it was a very slow progress for me. And then spurts would come out here and there, just like, okay, get better, figure this out, do some more. And then dad life. And so it's been an uphill battle, but that's kind of my short of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you've been playing for the better part of what, 3 decades now then?
Yeah, getting up there.
Yes. So a lot of
As much as
balancing fam.
I've been messing around almost as long as you've been alive.
Just about. Hey, you're not that much older. Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's what it's about though, picking up a passion and running with it, and the more we'll talk about this, but one of your daughters played high school. You brought her up playing, so it's passing down that tradition as well.
Yeah. And I even got a 17-month-old now who's likes watching golf with me, and he's even got his way of just handling a little plastic club, and he sits there and he does two hands and does this little copy motion. And so I don't know, maybe there's hope.
There's always hope. Well,
Yeah.
it's similar, for me, I guess, I played every
Yeah, like
sport
what's your
known to man. Yeah, I played every sport known to mankind growing up. And it was, I was lucky in life. My dad, a Cuban immigrant, he came and really created life for himself, and I was lucky enough to grow up going to a country club for the better part of my younger years before high school. So him and I played all the time. He kind of introduced me to it. I don't know how the heck he got into it, but it got me into it, and I loved it. It was fun because it was something I could do with him. He was always there for all of the sports that I played. He was my biggest supporter. He pushed me pretty hard, really focused on the mental side of things, and it was a passion. Played in high school, really loved it. Was never good enough to be on a tournament team, but I was good enough to at least count it as a class and go and get to travel. But for me, I put it down for a while. My dad, passed in a car accident when I was 19. And at that point, it was tough. It was really hard to play. I just couldn't touch a club. It became silent on the course. You didn't have that voice talking to you every day. You didn't have that person telling you to laugh it off when you hit a bad shot. And man, I just went downhill with it. And it just wasn't a place I wanted to be. But then, I remember it like it was, yesterday when Jordan Spieth was in the U.S. Open at Chambers Bay 2015. That was my first Father's Day. I was all of 4 weeks into being a father. And, I looked down at my son at the time and realized, it's the healing process for me was raising him playing golf. So fast forward 10 years, the passion is massive in me. I have goals on the golf world that, will sit and discuss through this. I'm sure we'll talk through this as we always do. But my 10-year-old plays now, and he's pretty big into it. Really enjoying it. He shot his career round was a 42 on 9 holes, which there's a lot of kids that are better than that, but I was extremely happy.
Dude, that's impressive.
Just seeing the effort that he put in, and he wants me to coach him and all of this. So it's been fun, and I've been reignited on that golf side for the past 10 years now that I've gotten back into it. So that's what brought me back in, and that to me is why I jumped on an opportunity like this to do a podcast like this, because we all have those ups and downs. And I was the only son, and my mom did everything she could after my dad passed to fill that void, but it's not always easy, and if you have a father-son relationship is just different, just like a mother-daughter relationship is. And it was interesting, feeling a void there, and then when you fill that void and it's a passion and it's awesome, but you feel alone, you're vulnerable. So I wanted to use this avenue to be vulnerable, let people know you're not alone, whether it's the struggle and chasing your hobby. Mental health's a big thing these days, and focusing on the me time is massive, as long as you don't abuse it, right? So,
Mhm.
my wife right now is out having a drink while kids are all asleep and I'm doing this. It's finding that balance, and that's what this is about.
Exactly. It's like, I mean, we could talk more about this later as we go through all our different series and episodes, but it's like we all have our ups or downs, and I've had some pretty major downs myself, and realizing from some of those mistakes that I've also created that just I need, or you need, that me time, because it helps release the stress. It just helps you feel better. It gets those endorphins flowing. Those are things that everybody needs to take care of. It's just not only physically but mentally. And like one of the outlets I have as part of trying to figure out my own balance is I get up at 4 in the morning just to go work out as much as I can. One, for my own health physically and mentally, because and 4 a.m. That's what I have to do. That is my compensation to try to help balance things out. And then, just try to figure out, hey, I'm going to go to the range. It's crack of dawn as soon as it opens. Or do I have to brave the heat here in Texas at 100 degrees with 88% humidity at 4 p.m.? Because those are the opportunities. But those are things that's like, eh, in order to help balance our golf life, home life, personal, health, that's what this is about. Try to help others who are in this situation. Try, hey, what can we do to help talk this through and try to figure out what's going to be healthy for everybody, not just us, the family included.
Yeah, 100%. So I guess with that, what does a normal week look like for you? And I know with your profession, or it's cyclical, right?
Yeah.
You're in one of the seasonal type professions. So what does a normal in season week look like for you at balancing family and golf?
So let's see. So with the in season career path, it's pretty strict because I don't have a lot of opportunity once I go to work super early in the morning. And then with practicing and doing stuff like that, kids after school, my Monday through Fridays is like 4 to 5, and then it's dinner. So for me to get any golf opportunity is pretty minimal until I hit the weekend. And then the weekend is just going to be kind of like, what's the weather look like? Oh, do we have plans? Are we heading out of town? So then it's just kind of have to find those gaps. So golfing wise, range is probably once or twice a month when I'm in season for career, and then maybe one round every couple months. Pretty limited. But then off season,
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting in what, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Do you need to take off your shoes and socks to count this one?
5. I might have to. I've actually already got like 5 rounds within the last like 3 weeks. Body's
Yeah,
feeling
absolutely.
it for sure. But yeah, it's like, and then I get remotivated, reignited, passion fuels, because I can start feeling this again, start creating shots again, and then career path hits, and then it's like, oh, it goes downhill.
So
Um, that's
so
my
where's your
cycle.
where's your headspace then on those times when you can only play once every other week and you're maybe getting 2 rounds in a weekend or a month, sorry. What's your headspace when it does rain and you
Yeah.
can't get out there?
And that's the thing. It's like as the older I get, the more I just realize there's different facets that I can just focus on. I know we've discussed this. It's just like I know I'm at the point of where I don't have swing speed anymore as much as I used to. I just like look at it and go, where are opportunities that I know I could try to gain and take advantage of? Focusing on more of the little things, more just the timing, the rhythm, and knowing my limitations, pushing them, but knowing where they are, and try to just make the most effective, efficient use of those times I get out. So it's kind of take those small wins.
Yeah, that's I find that to be the hardest part. It's when you get time, you kind of want to put the practice in. You don't just want to go out and hack it around. Because I know me, like if I have an opportunity, and I'm minimal on my opportunity because work has been crazy, your life's been crazy, and hey,
Hmm.
I'm not gonna be able to get to the range this week, but I'm gonna go play this week. Then the round sucks, and you're trying to fix your swing in the round. Round's terrible. You go home and you're like, well, I don't even feel any level of refreshed because my mind is spinning about how I found my swing on the 12th hole and the last 6 holes I played amazing, but my round was trash by that point. So I struggle with that. I struggle with, when you find the time, do you just go squeeze around it, or do you get on the course? And I think that changes when I'm in more of competitive mode and trying to
Hmm.
practice for a qualifier or something. Then absolutely, course time is better than range time because you're not working on swing thoughts, you're working on your game.
Mhm.
But when you don't touch your clubs for a month and a half and you got to get back in swing mode and make sure your swing is where it needs to be, you want to go to the range. But I'm not a range rat. I can sit at a range for 30 minutes before I get bored and want to go play.
I could be a range rat. I mean, I know there's times where I'll go out and, like you said, a month and a half off. Like, there's been times where I'll go. Then it's like weather commitments. And a month and a half later, I get to the range. Next day, I am sore. Body just aches. And it wasn't like a bad session. It's just everything hurts. And then it's like, it's like this ramp up. Like, if you haven't gone to the gym for like 6 months and you're like, oh, I'm going to go in. Oh, yeah, I used to bench 350 or what, squat 500. It's like, you're going to hurt. And it's just like trying to get that balance and trying to figure it out. And so I've been toying, like, do I just go full on range rat, or do I now try to think about it? It's like just woods for 45 minutes and then I'm done. And then next time wedges, and then the middle irons, and then focus on and then it comes down to, like, do you warm up and get going with clubs that you're comfortable with, or do you step out and challenge yourself and go with, I need work on these, and just try to hammer those out? So again, a mental strategy that you could approach it with. It's like, because I know I got there, it's like, oh, wedges, oh, I need to hit this one, and next you know, there's like the 6-iron. It's like I took 5 swings the whole 2 hours I was out there with it, and then go play the next day. I need my 6-iron and hosel it straight into the creek, which happened Sunday.
Yeah, so tell us Sunday. We since we knew we were going to do this podcast, obviously we talked about how it's hard to not text each other all of the updates because you're definitely one of the first ones I text. So tell me about Sunday.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Sunday I'm up doing dad duties. Middle child is graduating her naval indoctrination. I'm becoming official midshipman.
Awesome.
So we're up there celebrating that. Yeah, thank you. And then my oldest, she's just like, hey, it's cool, let's play golf. Not a golfer, but she enjoys kind of getting out, and we get father-daughter time because she's West Coast, so we don't see her very often. So I picked this course, Great Municipal, up in Waukegan, Illinois, and built around 1926. So it's like 100 years old. It had flyovers, and I'm sitting there going in after playing a pretty decent round, just like a few days prior, feeling confident. And then all of a sudden, it's like humidity was really bad, worse than Texas. So I'm like, okay, this kind of playing in my game, playing in my head a little bit. Heat getting up there, and this is at 9:00 in the morning. It was already feeling it. And then I'm like, okay, so grab my new favorite weapon, the mini, pump it right out there, middle of the fairway. I'm like, okay, feeling good. Hosel, like, there's a creek that kind of runs across the split fairway. Creek runs across it, thinking, all right, par 5. I just need to get a good layup in there because we're dead into the wind. Take 6, hoselled it right to the creek. And then she's like, all right, hold on, I'm going to hit another one. And the range was kind of weird. So didn't get a full range warm up. Hoselled again. It's like 2 in a row. I was like, okay. And then I got up to the green, and the greens all day, they were just hard to read. Very old fashioned, very slopey, very fast, but the breaks were very subtle. Putted it, and it was great pace, rolling great. Literally stops part of the cup on the edge. I was like, okay, here we go. Second hole, and I won't go through every hole, but second hole, just kind of like, okay, got one out to the fairway. All right, looking pretty good, just in the rough. And then, no, actually, it was in the rough, but old course, old style, trees. I had to punch. I was only like 5 yards off. Tree was in the way, had to punch. I was only like 70 yards out. Oh, lob wedge, hit it maybe half 3/4. I mean, take the small wins, struck it pure, flew the green. So it just spiraled from there. And I just grip in front. I think, again, coming back to the mental side of it, which is something we will kind of expand on as we go through this. At the grip in front, we would pull up to the tee box, and we're like, okay, guy just hit, thinking that's the 4th guy. No, it's the 3rd guy. He doesn't like his shot.
Jeez.
Tees up another one. Like, okay. Then the 4th guy goes up. He doesn't like it. Tees the second one. And with my group, we're sitting right next to the tee box. At one point, I even went up and started gunning the flag on a par 3 while they were hitting. And they didn't care.
Just walk right up
So
on them on the tee box.
yeah, it's just like, guys, you got to speed up because there was no one in front of them. So it was just rough. So there was a lot of mental facets, but of course it's beautiful. I would definitely, not that I'd ever be up there again, but I would go for it. It's just very classic, very old school. Like I said, 1926, fairways were like 50,
Yeah.
60 yards wide. Trees were like 150 to 75 feet tall, limbs. But yeah,
Yeah, so you're
yeah,
blocked
the
out the minute
frustration
you're off.
mounts. Yep.
Yeah, those are always tough rounds. I mean, I think you and I have talked about it. We're in Texas. It's not like link style is what's here, but
Mhm.
man, the minute you give me a tree line course, I'm a mental head case and I don't understand it. I wish I could, but
Yeah.
I just don't understand it.
Yeah, it was, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like I had a strategy and it's like worked. And like off the tee, everything was like really good. Like it was still good. Just like even if it was like 5 yards off, I had to punch because the trees were just so much in the way. After that, I was like, yeah, just kind of folded it and just started enjoying it. Just being out there, just like, okay,
Yeah, at some point you stop counting strokes and you just try to enjoy the time you're
yeah,
having.
yep, exactly.
It turns into I mean, for me, it turns into problem solving, which I read something the other day that's why a lot of people get into golf and why it turns into be a passion, because every shot is a problem and you're trying to solve it, and you're gonna sometimes you solve it, sometimes you don't, and then you're just gonna move to the next one and do it
Hmm.
again. And it's a repetitive challenge for me. Being a control freak project manager, it's the only place that I can control the action. I might not be able to control the outcome. You put a bad swing on
Hmm.
it, can put a bad swing on it, gust of wind, I can't control that, but at least I can dictate my portion of it, and it is what it is at the end.
Yeah, and I got out today, like I said, 13 putts on the front nine. I had like seven
Not
one
bad at
putts
all.
in a row, and then I was just like, okay, front nine, just 3 or 4 over the front nine, and then
Yeah,
slid into the back nine a little.
it's always tough. That's
Yeah, it's
unfortunate. It's
well,
you know
and that's I'll say that's the real quick is just and that's something I'm kind of thinking about. It's like, okay, I'm feeling real good. Well, okay, close out the front nine in a good pace. Then why did I hiccup? Like, what blocked me from doing the same thing on a course I know really well on the back?
but that's everyone. I was at my
Yeah.
league night last night. My buddy works one of the coaches at a indoor golf facility. They have a training membership style program, and they'll do league nights for the members. And since I have done lessons there, and since we're buddies, he'll invite me. It's a 2-man basketball. The team we were playing in the Bay with us, two good golfers. One of them was a scratch, and the guy could hit the ball. And same thing happened to him. I want to say we got 11 holes in, and this group was something like 9 under through 11. They were absolutely killing it. It was fun to watch. And he lost his swing completely. This scratch golfer, all of a sudden, he couldn't hit a driver to save his life. It was flaring out right, hitting them OB. And probably, I'm going to say, hole 17, maybe 16, picks it up again. And it is insane how minute and little it
Hmm.
happens. Like just one little thing is off, and all of a sudden you're lost, and you may or may not find it for the rest of the round. And if you do, awesome. But most golfers can't, and that's the struggle.
For sure. So how would you compare? Because you definitely have more opportunities with the indoor than I have. How would you compare an indoor round in competition versus outdoor? Like mindset, style play, how do you adjust for the differences with the nuances of camera screen versus outdoor?
Yeah, so I guess we'll take that little bit by bit. The overall, if we start from a high level, it's definitely more technical because the data relies specifically on launch criteria. It's the launch data of the ball, and that's how it simulates the flight. So if you're in the rough, but you get good launch, you get good ball speed, since you're not really hitting out of rough, it'll still fly pretty close to what you want. The trick is if you catch it slightly thick, or say I'm hitting, 280 and I want to take a 3-wood out of the rough, it doesn't factor in because it's the launch angle. So it's going to factor that it catches the top of the grass and it's going to knuckle or something like that. So it makes you be a lot more technical. It puts a priority on fairways, which, as up here in Texas, our rough is not overly hard to hit out of. It's tough to keep it
Mhm.
thick. We're not playing out of Oakmont here. So we don't have that really sticky, hard, thick Bermuda that sucks it in. It's pretty thin Bermuda. So if you're in the rough, you can hit out of it for the most part at the munis that we're playing.
Mhm.
Um, You can't do that there. So it puts a huge emphasis on hitting fairways. And then from there, the short game is totally different because, again, it comes down to launch criteria. And I can hit a low spinner that outside would be a one hop stop all day. It won't do that there because it's counting a low trajectory with a decent amount of ball speed and it's going to roll out on you. So, the reason I think my flop game is even relatively decent is honestly because of the simulators, because you have to learn to go high, but you might need to carry it 15, 20 yards. So you start to learn, okay, how can I manipulate the club head? But with that, you say, how does screen impact me? You get used to not relying on your eyes as much, if that makes sense. It's, you get a club and you go and it's a feel shot. And, for me, I'm not going at pins 90% of the time. I'm a pretty conservative golfer. I think you know that. But also, I like to be conservative. I like to go with 2-putt pars and boring golf. So it has definitely helped the depth perception side of it where, okay, this is a 50-yard shot. I know how to hit that. Let's go. So it's fun. But it is different for sure. Scratch golfer won't necessarily be a scratch TrackMan, and a scratch TrackMan is not necessarily going to be a scratch outside. No, I got the coaches up there are probably all pluses on TrackMan handicaps, but most of them are going to carry, a 1 to 5 handicap on the course.
Nice. Yeah, I think it was today. It's like my short game was improved, and I just, like you said, just feel. I just went with it. Went with something simple. It's not flashy, like the throw up the shot, throw up the wedge, spin, check. I was like, I need to bring it back to some basics, and it was front nine. I was in position for some bump and runs, put it within 3 to 5 feet, and one putted. Like, just why am I trying to hit a high wedge, get some spin when it's not necessary?
It's not. And, that brings up a good point. I don't know if you follow the Barstool Foreplay group at all.
No, I haven't seen them in a while.
So one of their guys, Riggs, everyone has their comments on his swing. It's not the prettiest swing in the world, but the guy knows how to get around a course and score. But everyone challenges handicap and says it's not real and it's a vanity cap. So they started doing, this hater series on YouTube where they took some of the people that have been for years fucking this guy in the comments, and they're playing him. So anyways, the one he had today, the hater, as they're calling him, was like, no, if you say you're less than a 5, you need to be playing tips. And I was going to text you and then decided, no, I'm asking tonight. But it's like, when you talk about making it easy and making it more enjoyable, what are your thoughts on, where people should tee based on a handicap, not necessarily based on where their distance is? And do you see someone say they are a short hitter, but they're scratched because they tee off from 6,200 instead of 7,000? Do you see them as any less of a golfer?
Yeah, no, because this is something that I tell some of my other friends and even my daughters, like when we go out and play, it's like you don't lose strokes off the tee very much. You get it out there. Everybody can get it out there. I go, you can get on the green, like even today, anybody can get on the green in 2, but you 4-putt. So
Yeah.
regardless of whatever tee box you play, the skill all comes down to feel and finishing out the hole on the short side. Now, I think as far as and make it enjoyable, like that was one of the things that this weekend, the guys in front of us, they should have been at least 1 tee box up. Not because they probably were bad golfers, but there were some holes with this course you actually had to carry certain distances. You just have to,
Yeah.
otherwise you just don't play. When we got up to those boxes on those holes, none of them could do it very well. So I don't want to say it's a macho thing, or maybe it's just a money thing. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm getting less out of it if I play up, or I look frowned upon by playing up. And it's like, no, you're here to enjoy it. And the end goal is like, you always want to talk about how well you shot. So why push yourself to the
Exactly.
tips?
Well, that was the funny thing listening to this hater on the YouTube, because he was like, well, if we're going to be out here and we're going to do this as a match, I want to get the full essence of the course. It's like, dude, playing from tips doesn't get you the full essence of the course. Like, it's just going to make it tougher. And, it flows well because, like I said, yesterday I had league night and we were stupid. I was there till way too late.
Yeah.
Should have been home a lot earlier, and I'm on fumes drinking an espresso over here at 10 o'clock at night. But man, we played our 18 and it was at Bandon, and sure, we did fine. But there's always a select few of us that end up staying a little bit later and
Mhm.
may or may not put money on it. Depends on how competitive everyone wants to get. Last night we didn't, luckily. And it was, we start hitting and then we're like, okay, let's play another 18. Hey guys, let's make this difficult. So we go and we pick Fields Ranch, right where they played the women's PGA championship this past weekend.
Mhm.
And if you know that course, it can play up to like 7,400 yards. And I'm going to say all of us were a 5 or less handicap, and all of us could hit the ball at least 260. So we were like, okay, we're going to be fine, right? Man, this was a freaking beating. One, it took like 3 hours to play this with 5 guys, which it should not have. I mean, typically you're maybe an hour and a half on that, 2 at the most. It takes us 3 hours to play this because we're hitting on 540-yard par fours, and it makes it not fun. So I thought it was funny when I watched this YouTube and this haters like, oh no, if you're a scratch or better or 5 or better, you need to be playing the tips, and it's like, no, that's not fun.
No, it's not fun. I mean, here's the thing, like, even for I mean, like, part of what we're talking about here, it's like, dads, if you also don't have a lot of time, there's not I mean, I'm gonna admit, there's nothing wrong. Play up a box or 2, and if you fit your group, it does make the round hopefully typically go a little bit faster. You won't lose your head as much. You definitely learn more about your
Yeah, absolutely.
game playing up, and you also have a different strategy. Like if you play a course that you're used to,
Hmm.
like, oh, driver, driver, oh, let's play up. Ooh, sometimes those boxes are so far wide from where they are to each other,
Yeah.
you actually have a whole different perspective of how you're going to play it. And that
Yeah, no,
is also part of learning the game.
it 100% is. And, through this, we said at some point we're going to talk about whatever our goals are in golf too, because it's, we're not going to be one of these chasing 80s, chasing under par, chasing 90s, but it's
Yeah.
obviously a part of a golf journey. And, one of mine is I want to qualify for a US Mid Am. And
Yeah.
so last summer I did it, not qualify, but I did the qualifier here in town. The whole lead up to it, I'm like, oh, they're going to be playing from 7,000 plus. Like, that's what they do. And
Mhm.
sure enough, I get the course. I'm like, no, they're not. This thing is 6,600 yards. So I had been practicing and playing longer distances, thinking that, oh, well, it's a USGA, it's a mid am. Of course, some of these guys are ex college golfers. Of course, we're gonna be playing from far, and we didn't. It's not always about distance. It's about the technical part of the course.
Oh, it is so technical. I mean, you think about all, yes, there's an advantage to hitting it long, but I mean, in recent history, I mean, not a lot of the long hitters win a ton. McElroy wins, but how it's so spread out. He hits it a mile, but it takes him a while to win. Bryson has his handful of wins, but again, it like they had all these they had these signature events that just finished completing 8 different
Mhm.
winners, and you can look at their spread of shots gained, distance off the
Oh
tee.
yeah,
It's incredible how you can see the stats just tell you like it's not about hitting it far. Like you got to know how to manage and control everything.
yeah, and that's full circle back to the question I asked you of, does it make someone less of a golfer if they don't want to tee off from the tips, but yet there's still a scratch? And my unequivocal answer is no. If you can get your way around and
No,
score par on a course, you're a dang good golfer. And
yeah,
I
no.
that is what it is. I don't care if you didn't hit a single drive over 250. If you shot par, that's a feat in itself. If you shot under 80,
Mhm.
that's a feat in itself.
I mean, hitting a 260 shot down the fairway, that's great, looks awesome. But draining a 15-foot putt to get birdie or save par is a greater feat, period.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's
Absolutely.
just
And that's where it gets tough for us weekend golfers, because you're trying to rely on the most critical part of your game, which is touch. I mean, how many 15 footers are we draining? How many are you even practicing throughout the course of a week?
none. like I said, my time is so limited. It's like when I go to the range, it's uh, with my body. I just and some injuries and things. It's like I spend more time just trying to keep the mechanics of my swing going, and then next thing, 2 hours. Got to get home. Got to start cooking dinner. Got to take care of the kids,
Yeah.
or do laundry, cut the lawn, whatever it might be. Whatever I
Well, it's
pushed off
funny.
the whole week.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever you procrastinate with. Well, it's funny you bring up, hosel rocketing a few. And I probably the biggest break I've taken from golf outside of obviously before 2019 when I picked it back up again was when my daughter was born. And man, I didn't touch clubs for probably 2, maybe 3 months. It was just, it's a newborn baby. We have 2 other
Mhm.
kids. We both have a job, and we had, that wasn't the easiest of deliveries in the first place. So
Mhm.
obviously it took Kay a little bit more to recover on that one. And, I just didn't touch my club. So I go out and I play and country club, tight course, and I hosel rocketed every single full swing shot. Like, no joke. I got to where you talk about finding the fundamentals. I got to where I legit was hitting punch shots with every club, even from the middle of the fairway. And my 5-iron might have only been going like 120 yards because I was hitting soft full punches because I could not put a full swing on a ball. I'd lost
Mhm.
all mechanics in 2 months of just not touching a
Mhm.
club. All tempo
Yeah,
was gone.
for sure. Yeah, and I mean, similar when family events happen, like golf does take a back seat. And there's a part of me says I wish it couldn't, but there's also part of me it's like, hey, this is life, and this is what we're talking about. Like, and then how do we regain that
Yeah,
feel?
that
And
brings up a great question that I personally battle with every freaking year. It is an internal battle. Father's Day. Father's Day is supposed to be to celebrate, the parent, whether it's Mother's Day, Father's Day, it's always, well, what do you want to do? Well, I want to go play golf. That's what I want to do, quite frankly. But
Mhm.
you also want to be with your kids. So it's like, what do you do in a situation like that? Because you talk about prioritizing golf on certain events, and it's an event that's geared around celebrating, the father figures of the world. So how do you balance that? How do you not feel bad going and playing?
Gosh, I mean, that is always the question. It's like, I think the way I would compensate is for me, it's like instead of golfing on Father's Day, I'd golf the day before or the day after. Because my schedule allows that opportunity. There's that piece, but it's because it's like I want to still kind of get out and get my time that we've talked about, our mental health, get out, enjoy us being dads and just also being adults and guys. But again, there's times where I'm out there, it's like, I wonder what he's doing or wonder what the girls are doing, like, and you want to be enjoying those moments with them as well, because the day is celebrating you for having them. So I think there's always going to, at least I hope there's always going to be a little bit of, I don't guess, guilt. And it's just what kind of peace you can make, inner peace you can have with that. And that's kind of like my
Yeah, and
take on it.
that I think that's where I struggle the most is, you have that guilt and you don't want to be enjoying it. I mean, you and I went and played Saturday before Father's Day and at the butt crack of dawn catching us 6:30 time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's right.
So I mean, yeah, we make it work, but is that ideal? Is that what we want? Do I want to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go go get a round in, and then you're just so you don't feel guilty that you're missing part of Father's Day. And then you're not quite there yet because obviously your girls have grown up and moved on, and your toddler's not old enough to really go play with you. But with my 10-year-old playing golf, it's like, well, at what point do I start taking him? But at the
Hmm.
same time, I kind of want to get away and I want to sit in a cart with my buddy and talk about life, to have these conversations, and you can't do that when you have a 10-year-old riding around with you.
Yeah, it's internal struggle that is just, I think, going to be in every dad's life. I hope.
Yeah, it should be for sure. I mean, the modern day, I must say, the millennial generation, you might be on the older edge of that, but it's the millennial generation that we want to be present for our kids, and it is tough. It's a balance for sure,
Hmm.
and I hate it. I always feel guilty, and I never play great on Father's Day or any of the holidays that I'm getting out and playing because my mind is
Your
always
mind, your
somewhere
mind is
else.
not. That's what it is. It's like when you can have a free, clear, guilt-free day. That definitely, I think, makes a huge difference. And what are those opportunities? I mean, being a dad, there's always something on your mind. There being a husband, there's always something on your mind. Being a career homeowner, whatever it might be, there's always something on your mind. And so, how to
Yeah, you're not
balance it
wrong.
is,
You're not wrong with that at all. I mean, it's at least for me. I did have a job where I was able to play a little bit more during the week. But even then, even when I did some consulting and stuff like that, you might get out during the week, and my wife always enjoyed it when I got out on the week. But a lot of times I had to have the conversation where I was like, it's really not me time, because I'm still monitoring my phone. I'm still monitoring my email, just because my work schedule allows me to be a little flexible and go play 18 first thing in the morning and be at my desk by 10 doesn't mean that it's enjoyable. It's still getting out and it's more practice. And now, obviously, the job I have now, I drive 2 hours a day. There's no chance that I'm playing. I'm in the office. So it's, my practice time is extremely limited. I'm lucky if I touch a club 30 minutes throughout the week, and then I'm going to play around with maybe a 15-minute warm up. I mean, how many balls did we hit 2 weeks ago before our round? I think I hit a total of 15 balls and said, okay, let's go.
15, 20. Yeah. And then like calling us up, hey, let's go. You're on the box. And it's like,
Yeah. And what happened? I toe hooked one straight into the trees left.
See, and that's where I was just like, okay, just give me something in the fairway. Just swing easy. And then it's like, okay, I'm in play. And then I screw the other one up.
Well, not to belabor this conversation, because it's at that league night. I didn't touch my driver once. That mini has done wonders for me. You talked about your mini earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The club data is 2-3 mile per hour ball speed apart. I mean, my driver's obsolete, so now I'm sitting there talking to all of the coaches up there, like, what do I need to do? Like, do we cut it down? Do I just go trash it right now? And all I do is play the mini driver. What's going on here?
What was their take on it? Like, what's their opinion with the mini coming into the circuit more?
I don't know. We're torn because, the mini goes almost as far as my driver, obviously spins a little bit more. So, I mean, I think there's still a world. I think where we got to after 30 minutes of hee-haw was maybe cut my driver down to the mini driver length or half inch longer, keep it at 9 degrees. Because I think a big part of it is I don't hit center with my driver. I'm hitting toe or high toe, and it's not a good enough ball flight to really capitalize on the impact. So I think that's probably the next step, is cut it down and see if that helps. If it doesn't, we don't have an answer. I think it's just one of those, you take it out of the bag if you're not going to use it. And they definitely, all of them were saying I need to go to a 5 wood instead of that 2 iron. But Ping was the rep, or was the sponsor of the league night last night, so we had a rep there. So I tried the 5 wood, and man, that thing's juiced. I was hitting it 20 yards farther than my 2 iron. Same degree. Yeah, it would have been the 440. And it felt great. I liked it. I do like Ping's fairway products. I like the thin face. But man, the thing was juiced. The ball speed was insane. It was going as far as my 3 wood does now. Well, 3 wood that I took out of my bag, at least. So it's like, I still have a gap. So solving the top end of the bag is hard, especially when I'm not playing enough to be consistent with contact. And I just haven't wanted to put the money into it. Like, that's just, it's not something that I want to spend money on right now.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, part of it also saying like, what tee boxes are you playing, what courses are you playing, kind of also plays into it. But then just like, yeah, that top end of the bag is, where are you gapping the lofts, the lengths, and what, like for me, my mini is really only as an alternate tee shot. I rarely use it off the deck because, I play the tee boxes where I feel confident with and comfortable with. So driver gets me up far enough, and then I could go 5 wood if I need it, or I'm down to my hybrid or irons, and I don't need that 3 wood off the deck or mini off the deck.
Well, and I don't think any of us are going for a green where the mini is the club. I mean, I did when we played Father's Day. I hit one just for the heck of it because I hadn't done it, but that was just because it was my first round with that club, so I wanted to try it off the deck and see how it went. But in a normal scenario, I don't think we're doing that. So it is just a second alternate club.
And it's safe to say for me right now, it's like if my driver's not working, I know the mini can keep me in play and keep me in a good spot. It maybe make the second a little longer, but I'm not spraying it.
Yeah, absolutely. That just comes with more practice. Keep it down. I would like to use it off the deck more, but we'll see if I get there. We'll see if the practice gets there.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what does the rest of your week look like? Do you think you're going to get some more time in?
Probably this weekend. I think for the first time we don't have much going on, so I'll try to play on Sunday. I'll at least get out to the range and do something, as much as I hate that. But we'll see. It's definitely not going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen tomorrow or Friday. You know enough of our story. One of my middle son is autistic, so he has therapy, and he is psychiatrist, and he is psychiatrist today, he has therapy tomorrow. So it all goes back to golf is just never the priority. It's something that I'd love to prioritize, but we have so many other things we need to be focusing on. So, I'll try to get out, but right now I'm pretty limited to chipping on the green in the backyard and
There you go.
and hoping that fills the need for the time being. So we'll see. I'll try to get out Sunday.
Nice.
It's I need to, for sure. I've been on a heater with my rounds lately, so I need to keep it going.
Yeah.
Been
Keep
kind of
that
lucky.
feel, keep that mojo.
Absolutely. Well, good. So I guess just to let everyone know what our plan is. We're going to talk weekly. We'll be uploading these weekly.
Mhm.
We're going to try to keep it 30, 45 minutes. This one was a little bit longer because obviously I gotta do an intro, tell everyone who we are.
Yeah.
But on average, we're going to keep it, 45 minutes, keep it during a drive. For those that care, family friendly. We are going to do our best to not say anything we shouldn't. Because I enjoy when my kids can listen in the truck with me to the podcast I like.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And we're going to try to get some industry professionals on. Between the two of us, I think we know some people that live in that world as their main profession, and a lot of them are dads, and we want to get them out and just talk through. So hopefully we'll have a fitter guy. I'll let him decide if he wants to say what company he fits for when he comes on. But he has a young son, and he has a wife that has a good career, and they've moved around a lot. And gonna try to get him on and talk through what he sees for amateurs being fit and what he recommends and what his life is. So we're going to have various guests come on the best we can. And it's always going to be in the world of trying to keep it relatable, trying to keep it with people that live in the golf dad world. Right.
Yep.
What else? What else you got?
That's the thing. I mean, like, we're new. I don't know if I would classify as content creators yet. Like, we're just putting this out there, see how it goes. I know we got those stories and things we're going to talk about, and I think some people would definitely like to hear what's in the bag for us. So we'll always throw something like golf equipment related, golf lessons related. Hey, you're driving home from work, you got 45 minutes to kill. What's something you could do if you're swinging by a golf course or a range, things like that. So in more videos, I think we're going to kind of bleed into. So we got a lot of things in the hopper that we want to present to you guys and show what it's like to kind of get out there and figure out how to balance everything.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a great idea. We're both gearheads, so I think telling everyone what's in our bag is right up our alley. So maybe we'll do that on the next podcast. Like you said, we'll upload some videos and show some visuals along the way. But guys, we're excited. We're excited to be doing this. Jason, I'm glad you reached out to me. I'm glad I was the person you chose, as much as I thought long and hard about this and the 30 seconds it took me to reply.
How was it? You're like, dude, I'm in. I was in shock. Like, oh, okay, all right, let's go.
Hey, I'm one of those. You jump on it, project manager. Give me an idea, and we'll go execute it. So no, we're excited. I'm excited. This is, whether it goes anywhere or not, this is extremely exciting. It's just fun to hear other people's stories. Hopefully, people can learn from our stories, because I think there's a lot more meat to our backgrounds that people will learn as we go. That makes it a little bit more intriguing with.
I think that's it.
Life,
like,
so.
We definitely, like you said, have more meat. We have more background that we can't divulge within this first podcast. So a lot more life will come out as we progress through. But
Perfect.
I think we'll look for us on, I think we've got Instagram, we got TikTok, a YouTube channel. So
yep.
Yeah, we're going to be having this stuff rolling here in the next week or so.
Yeah, first episode we'll release today is the June 25th. So it'll be the second, I believe, is next Wednesday. We'll release that this first episode. And right now, predominantly for audio perspective, is just going to be on Spotify. But like you said, it'll be on video part. Everyone wants to look at our two ugly mugs here. We'll be on YouTube. And then Jason handles all of our socials. So hit us up if you have anything that you want us to talk about, and we'll do our best to accommodate. But we're excited, and give us a listen.
Sounds good.
All right. Next week, Jason.
Next week. Let's do it. What's in the bag?
What's in the bag? It'll be a good one.
Yeah. We can talk a while for that one.
Yeah. It might be a longer one. We're excited. Absolutely excited. So give us a follow. Give us a listen on Spotify, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Awesome.